देशिक मे शरणं भवशङ्कर देशिक मे शरणं भवशङ्कर देशिक मे शरणं भवशङ्कर देशिक मे शरणं विदिताखिलशास्त्रसुधा जलधे महितोपनिषत्कथितार्थनिधे हृदये कलये विमलं शरणं भवशङ्कर देशिक मे शरणं भवशङ्कर देशिक मे शरणं भवशङ्कर देशिक मे शरणं
ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I'll be speaking on Adhyasa as explained by Adi Shankaracharya, Bhagwan Shankaracharya. Of all of Shankara's works, his bhashyas, etc., I think the most profound and the most appropriate is his Adhyasa Bhashya, which is an introduction to the Brahma Sutras. Why? It is most appropriate because Adhyasa is the basis for explaining Vedanta. Both Maya and Adhyasa is referred to, indicated in the Upanishads. However, it was left to Acharya Shankara to propound it, expound it, make it very, very explicit. His Adhyasa Bhashya is a very, very profound work. I will be referring to it in my talk and bringing out certain facets of it, but not the whole thing. A 45-minute talk is too small to expound all of Adhyasa Bhashya or all the nuances of it. Okay, that will probably take me 30-40 hours to do, or even more. Now, what is Adhyasa and why is it necessary? For that, a little bit, certain things I have to take for granted, but a little bit I have to include that. In the vision of Vedanta, all that is there is Brahman. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman. And what is Brahman? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. From Taittiriya Upanishad. Now, that means what is there is limitless existence, limitless consciousness. In other words, consciousness, existence, which is limitless. If that is all that is there, we have an issue with the world that we confront. Where did the world come from? How is it there? Well, you could say it has come from Brahman, but we have to explain how it has come from Brahman for the simple reason that is, Brahman is Anantam, limitlessness, infinite. That means not limited by time and space. It cannot change to become the world. Change to become the world is impossible for Brahman because of the very definition that it is limitless. All change is created within time and space on an object which is conditioned by time and space. And since Brahman is not conditioned by time and space, its limitlessness, there is no way it can change into the world. And when I confront a world experientially, I have another issue. I am a finite being. The world is large and I am small. What you see is what you get. I am this much only. I am this body and mind, which is divided differently depending upon the paradigm you are using, 3 shariras, panchakoshas, etc. Given the state of affairs now, how are you going to explain the world? You cannot have a pramana or a philosophy expounding something which contradicts our experience. And if it does contradict our experience, that contradiction should be explained away. So now we have an apparent contradiction here. I am supposed to be limitless existence, consciousness. The world is limitless existence, consciousness. Then where does all this come from? All these names and forms come from. And how did I become a limited entity? You cannot have any theory which talks about a real change. Because any real change can happen only in a finite entity. Here is where the genius of Vedanta comes in, and as propounded by Adi Shankara. He says, the world is not real, it's only a perception. This is a little bit difficult for beginners to follow. But tell me, even if you're looking at it scientifically, does the world exist apart from your cognition? My kurta, what is it? Is there really a kurta there? I'm wearing a kurta. Is there really a kurta? The feel of the kurta is the feel of the cloth. The fall of the kurta is the fall of the cloth. The texture is of that of the cloth. The color is that of the cloth. Therefore, what is this thing that we call kurta? A form for which you are given a name. A form for which you are given a name. That means what? It's purely cognitive. If a Westerner who is not exposed to Indian culture comes here, for him, it's a very funny shirt. It will be classified as shirts. It will not be classified as kurta. Therefore, kurta is a cognitive standpoint, is a perceptual standpoint of cloth. There is no real kurta apart from the cloth. This is what in Chandogya Upanishad, as I said, Adhyasa is indicated by saying Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadevam Mrityake Eva Satyam. All that is there is clay, there is no real pot. Pot is only a cognitive fact. Pot is only experiential. Fact is there is nothing but clay. So, same way here. Now, would little bit on this cognitive aspect to understand Adhyasa. A friend of mine, an American friend, who also used to come to my classes, came to India. And he wanted to experience a typical Indian meal. I said, that is difficult. Because each state has its own typical Indian meal. By each state, each district in every state has its own typical meal. But since we are in Maharashtra, I said, okay, I'll take you to a Maharashtrian household and give you a typical Maharashtrian Indian meal. He said, fine. So we went there. I rang up a student of mine, and that lady was very happy to entertain me and my friend for a meal. Bhiksha. Fine. So the Maharashtrian custom, you will keep a part for people to sit on. This is a small part. It's a small rectangular piece of wood with about 2 inches high. There's some legs on it, side 2 inches high, max. You sit on it, then they'll keep the thali in front of you, the plate in front of you. My American friend, he comes from a culture where there is nothing called a pot. He came and sat on the opposite side of the pot where the plate is supposed to be kept and said, you'll really eat on very low tables. In his cognition, there was a table. In the Maharashtrian lady's cognition, it is a pot. What is it? A piece of wood for the time being, which I will question later. But all that is there is wood. Pot, table, etc. are purely cognitive, culturally cognitive standpoints. This becomes the basis for Adhyasa. What is Adhyasa now? To go into it, and then we'll apply it to the world and Vedanta. What is Adhyasa? Shankara defines it in the Bhashya as Atasmin Tad Buddhi. Simplest definition possible. Atasmin Tat Buddhi. The buddhi of that in what is not that. The cognition, buddhi meaning cognition, the cognition of that in what is not that. Now, what is that? The cognition of rope in non-rope. That means cognition of a snake in non-snake. That means a rope. In a rope, I am mistaking it for a snake. I am seeing a snake. Or when I am walking on the beach, I mistake a kshiptika, a seashell on the seashore is mistaken for a coin because it's shining in the light, in the sunlight. These are the classical examples given to show what is Adhyasa, to mistake something for something else. Atasmin tad buddhi. And Shankara adds a qualifying phrase for it also. He says, Purva drishtam smriti rupaha. Purva drishtam. It should have been seen by you before. If you have never seen a snake in your life, not even on the TV or a photograph or a painting of a snake, you don't know what a snake is about. You are never going to project the snake on the rope. Therefore, whatever is projected should be part of your knowledge. You must have seen it before. True or false, we don't mind. It should have been seen by you before. Number one, Purva Drishtam. Smriti Rupaha. Smriti Rupaha here means Smriti Tulyaha. It is equivalent to a memory. Meaning, it can be like a vivid memory. It's a pure mental projection. So, on that rope, you're projecting a snake. On the seashell, you are projecting a coin or a piece of silver. Now, this makes it a very interesting thing. Some cognitions are not functionally valid. That snake is not really functionally valid. If I am a snake charmer or I have a friend with me who is a snake charmer, he can go on playing his bean in front of the snake, nothing will happen. That snake is not going to dance to his tune. It is not Vyavahara Yogya. But there are certain adhyasas, cognitions, which are Vyavahara Yogya. What is that? We walk on a flat earth. We all know the earth is round. For centuries, thousands of years, we have known earth is round. But we are walking on a flat earth. If you take the earth as flat, that's called adhyasa. As a child, you took the earth as flat. Then on knowledge, when you studied science, you recognize the earth is round. But the cognition and the experience of a flat earth continues. In spite of your understanding that the earth is round, your experience of flat earth continues. The flat earth is Vyavahara Yogya. When you're building a building, you're not making curved foundations. You're making normal flat foundations. Therefore, there is a Vyavahara Yogyatvam. So, some adhyasas have Vyavahara Yogyatvam, some don't. That's all that matters. Some don't. Rising sun. It's an experience. People go all the way to Kanyakumari just to see the rising sun. You can see it from your balcony. But no, you have to go all the way to Kanyakumari, knowing it doesn't rise. You set your time by it. Your clocks, your watches are all set by man. Sophisticated measurement, but it's still there. Therefore, there is Vyavahara Yogyatyam, functional validity for certain types of adhyasas, and for others, there is no functional validity. The snake that you see on the rope will vanish when you know the rope. That's why it's called Artha Adhyasa. The Artha vanishes. Some can be only negated by Jnanam. The object will continue. That's why the difference between Jnana Adhyasa and Artha Adhyasa comes into the picture. The rising sun continues in your experience. Flat earth continues in your experience. Both are cognitions. Some are functionally valid, some are functionally not valid. Many scientific cognitions are like that. In fact, the Higgs boson, for example, the latest particle discovered, or so we think we have discovered it, not sure, exists only for a split second. But we say, oh, it is there. It's there only cognitively. They're only cognitive. So, in the vision of Vedanta, in Shankara's vision, the whole world is an adhyasa. Whole world is an adhyasa. There is only one Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, which you have mistaken to be this world of names and forms. 14 dimensions, 7 up, 7 below. All of it, he says, nothing but your cognition, your experiential reality. And because you take that as real, you feel your finitude. Because of your identification with your body, mind, etc. Another adhyasa. Open your eyes, see the world, there is one adhyasa. Look at yourself, there is another adhyasa corresponding to the world. Therefore, this jivatvam, individuality that you experience, which has got a functional validity because you, after death, you travel to other lokas, you're born again, karma, karma phala, the whole thing is based on what? Adhyasa. It's a mistaken notion. The all-pervading consciousness, the limitless consciousness is mistaken for a finite being here and a world outside. What is it? Where is the real world? You examine anything, you will find there is no reality in it. You are only describing some qualities. You are only describing a name and form. The reality is something completely different. For an example, a book. Okay, it's a book. Okay, Bhagavad Gita Bhashya of Sri Shankaracharya. Okay, it's a book. What is this thing that we are calling a book? Does it have a reality? Does it have a reality? Yeah, of course. Yeah, but book is nothing but paper. Does book have a reality apart from the paper? No, Swami. Yes, there's only paper, accepted. Therefore, what you called reality, book, has vanished into the paper. If you shift your standpoint, what is there is only paper. Therefore, the cognition of paper in the form of a book is called book. It's only but cognition. Because we are trained to believe from childhood that in this form, the paper will be called book. In some other form, it will be paper. If it is not bound together, it will become paper. You can have a sheaf of papers, a file of papers, etc. Therefore, what you call book is really speaking a deliberate adhyasa, not an ignorant adhyasa, an adhyasa on book. So, paper is a reality. What is paper? Paper was made from wood pulp. Therefore, wood pulp is a reality, not paper. Wood pulp in this particular form is called paper. Then what is wood pulp? Wood pulp was a tree once upon a time. Therefore, tree is a reality. A tree is nothing but hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are reality. That's an arrangement of molecules. Is molecules a reality? No, every molecule is an arrangement of atoms. Atoms are a reality. It's made up of subatomic particles. What is the reality? Look at it. It's all cognition down the way. Adhyasa down the way. We are taking something that is there and giving it name, form, name, form, name, form. It's all adhyasa. Some Vyavahara Yoga like this book. Don't say at the end of it there is nothing. I'm talking about this book. Don't say nothing is there. I'll whack you with this book and you will know how much is there. Okay. It's not nothingness. The final thing has to be something that exists but doesn't have a form. Because if it has a form, it can be resolved into its constituents. That means form. Formless existence is the reality of this book. Wow. Formless existence? Yeah. Formless means what? Don't draw me a shape of an amoeba. That is shapeless, not formless. Formless means no boundaries. If it is no boundaries, it is limitless. That means limitless existence, Satyam Anantam, is the basis for this book. And what is the basis for me? I. By the question, who am I, Drigdrishya Viveka, etc., I can come to this point that I'm not the body. I'm the one who's aware of the body. I'm the one who's aware of the mind. I'm the one who's aware of my knowledge. I'm the one who's aware of my ignorance, etc. Finally, I'll come to the fact that I'm nothing but pure consciousness. Therefore, consciousness existence becomes the basis for me. Consciousness existence becomes the basis for the world. But then why doesn't this have consciousness? This does not manifest consciousness. For manifesting consciousness, you need a subtle matter inside it called mind. Sukshma Sharira. If I introduce a mind here, then I'll have to deal with it as though it's a person. So now, we have consciousness existence as a reality. Then why do I take it as the world and me as a finite human being? That is my question, not your question. Okay, why are you doing it? So Vedanta comes here to answer. It is out of ignorance. I don't know Brahman. I don't know I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. I don't know the world is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. I don't know. And this ignorance is so well entrained in me that I cannot but help make a mistaken conclusion, erroneous conclusion, otherwise called as adhyasa, with respect to me. I take the qualities of the body and mind as me and the consciousness as the body and mind. In sense, I as the body and mind. Therefore, I say I am this much only. It's very beautifully explained in another verse from Atma Bodha, I think the 24th or 25th verse. It says, Atmanas Sachidamshascha Buddhehe Vrittiritidvayam Samyoga cha avivekena Janami iti pravartate. The Satchit, that is Atma. Sat meaning existence, Chit consciousness. And the thought that comes up in your mind, Vritti, Buddhi. When one is mistaken for the other, I say, I know, I am a knower, I am an actor, I am a doer, etc. Adhyasa. Clear? Clear cut. Why? Because I don't know who I am. I don't know what I am. I know I am. Look at it. Adhyasa includes certain basic premises. You're passing on the dark road. If you don't even see something is lying down there, totally ignorant, will there be an adhyasa? Will you mistake it for a snake? No. So you have to be aware of the rope. In the sense, you have to be aware that something is long is lying down there. Plus, you must be ignorant of what is there. When both these conditions are there, the mind cannot but help project a snake there or something similar. Therefore, that awareness of something plus ignorance of what it is makes your mind project a snake, which we call as adhyasa. Similarly, I am a self-aware human being. I know I am. Without the need of anything, any pramana, any means of knowledge. I know I am, I exist. There was a French philosopher called René Descartes. He made a statement. I think, therefore I am. Wow. Sounds like a very profound statement. So I'm making a counter statement. I doubt your statement. Therefore I am. Why? Because between two thoughts you don't exist anyway. Do you exist? What is there to connect one thought and another thought? You. Therefore, when you don't think, like in deep sleep, do you exist or you don't exist? You don't say I'm non-existent. Because you got to get up and say I slept well. That means you remembered it. That means what? My self-existence is self-evident. My existence, that I am, is self-evident without the necessity of perception, thinking, anumanam, inference, upamanam, comparison, arthapatti, deductive reasoning. Without all this, I know I am. May who? I know that much. May kon hu? Bulla na jane mein kon hu. I'll have to sing like that. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I am. What I am, I don't know. That I am, I know. Ideal condition to conclude. You will conclude that I am this much only. Even by a mistaken notion, you can't conclude I am infinite. How are you going to conclude? All your experiences are finite. This is exactly like a person acting on a stage. I don't know who the latest actors are. Okay, whoever it is. Okay. Okay. The new crop of actors I am not aware of. Well, let us say Shah Rukh Khan. I think most people know him. Know about him, I mean. He is acting on this. He has got an offer to act on the stage. And for actors, the ultimate is to be on the stage. Though you don't get money for it, you get that live audience feeling. And he is acting the role of a beggar. He's supposed to be a beggar. The beggar is the hero here, okay? And he goes to a restaurant. He is supposed to be pushed out of the restaurant by the bouncers there, by the security there. And he's supposed to fall down, get up and break into a song. Bollywood, Bollywood. Okay. So, this time the bouncer pushed him a little too hard. He fell flat on the stage, banged his head on the stage. He was unconscious for a second, then got up. With amnesia, he has forgotten who am I. Today will he break into a song? No way, he doesn't have any memory of that. But he'll look at himself. I am dressed as a beggar. Those guys in that restaurant are treating me like a beggar. Therefore, I must be a beggar. On the basis of the experience and his association with his dress, he concludes, I am a beggar. Not happy with it. Nobody is happy with that conclusion. But no other choice. The human lot is similar. I know I am, but I don't know what I am. Therefore, on the basis of my association with this mind and this body, I will say, I am a human being. I am male or female. And then all the other self-judgments will start. Yeah. I am responsible, I am rich, I am poor, I am Brahmana, I am Kshatriya, I am Shudra. All these conclusions, cognitive conclusions will start, meaning on ajnanam, based on ajnanam. Self-ignorance is necessary for adhyasa. If you know it is a rope, you are not going to mistake it for a snake. You will say, it looks like a snake, it's very nice. I'll take it and keep it in my drawing room as a piece. Nice coiled snake, it looks like. But you won't get scared away by it. Same way. If you knew your Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, you will not have adhyasa. You will not have any adhyasa. Therefore, it's only because of self-ignorance that you have this problem of adhyasa. Therefore, you cannot keep removing adhyasa. You have to remove ignorance. And Shankaras make another beautiful statement there. I mean, he makes a lot of statements, but another beautiful statement is that the aropita vastu, what is superimposed, the snake on the rope, does not taint the rope. Gandham api nasti, he says. Even the smell of the snake will not be there on the rope. That means what? Any adhyasa does not touch, contaminate, affect the adhishtanam, the base. That means all my conclusions and self-judgments. I'm a human being, I'm a finite character, I'm a man, I'm guilty of this, I'm happy with that, I'm this thing, I'm that thing, I'm that thing. I've done so much of wrong things in my life, I've done some good things in my life. All those conclusions, pure adhyasa, does not touch you, the pure consciousness that you are. Important. Therefore, what? All of Vedanta is only understanding this, that the whole world is an adhyasa. Your conclusion about yourself is an adhyasa. You are nothing but Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And if you understand that, you are free. That is called nirvana, moksha. Moksha is this understanding you are nothing but Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. What other moksha is there? It is not experiential, it is purely cognitive. Why? Because the self-ignorance has to go. So all the Vedanta teaching is meant to negate this ignorance. It is not even a meditative experience. You can have a meditative experience if you are so conditioned and you need it. But it is the Shabda Pramanam, the teaching that works. The teaching in the hands of a Sampradaya will work. Who's a Sampradaya with? One who has not only mastered the Shastra, that any scholar also will do. He is also rooted in the truth and he knows how to handle the words. The words are handled in such a manner that the finite words reveal the infinite consciousness that you are. And in the process, you say, that is true. I am free from all my erroneous conclusions about myself. It is these erroneous conclusions that are technically called as adhyasa. I'm not going too much into technicalities. I'm keeping it simple because I know a lot of lay people will be seeing this. So the one who can use the magic of the words and make you see the truth, that person is a Sampradaya. So for practical purposes, we'll say, go to a guru who is Shotriyam Brahmanishtam, who is well versed in the Shastra and who is rooted in the truth himself, and he'll be able to show you the truth. He won't postpone it. He says, right now, here. Moksha is here, not after something, not after 10 years of meditation. Right now. You are free as you are. Why? Any bondage that you experience, any finitude that you experience is nothing but adhyasa. Cognitive. Just a perception. Erroneous perception. Pure adhyasa. You're free as you are. As you are, you are free. Nothing touches you. Which I is the question. Yes. If I am taking myself to be only this much, that is adhyasa. If you take yourself as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, then you are free from that adhyasa. You no more have that adhyasa with you. Where is adhyasa? Then what happens in the, how do you live in the world? You live in the world like anyone else. Remember, this thing continues. The rising sun continues in spite of knowing the sun doesn't rise. Similarly, even for the person who knows the truth, the world continues. The world continues. And if the world continues, it becomes an experiential thing. It does not become a real thing. Like how you experience a kurta, a table, a cloth, etc. A book. It has got some vyavahara yogitvam, functional validity it has. That's all. Everything that has functional validity is not absolutely real. Flat earth has functional validity. It is not real at all. Rising sun has functional validity. It is not real. It is pure adhyasa. But in spite of knowledge, it continues. It is jnanena bhaditam. It's true. It is negated on knowledge. But cognitively, experientially, it will continue. Experientially, not even cognitively. Cognitively, you know the sun doesn't rise. You know the earth is round, not flat. You know that. But experientially, it continues. So, what's the problem? What's the problem? Yes, there is one problem here. And this is it's an old issue. But in modern times, it is emphasized too much. We value experience. We are giving a greater value to the experience than it deserves. We think experience is knowledge. Experience is not knowledge. How you interpret the experience will depend upon your knowledge or not. Knowledge is the interpretation of your experience. It is not your experience. How can you say that? Here, there was this padri going about, okay, talking about the evil effects of alcohol. Good jokes. That work I like. Other work I don't like, but this work I like. Okay, he was going around. So, he believed in experiential learning. He took a worm, put it in a glass of water. The worm is happily swimming around. Then he picked up that worm and put it in a glass of whiskey, alcohol. The worm dies. Held up both the glasses and asked the audience, what does this teach you? One guy put up his hand. Yes, my son, what does it teach you? Father, if you drink whiskey, you will not have any worms in your stomach. Was that the knowledge that the Padri was trying to impart to this guy? He was trying to point out how alcohol can destroy your cells, etc. But the learning this guy got, his interpretation was completely different. That's why I say experience is not knowledge. Experience is there. One worm is swimming happily, the other the worm dies. How do you interpret it? Because we give too much of importance to experience, the experience of the world makes us feel limited even more. Swamiji, just by understanding the truth, will you become free? You don't have to become free, you're already free. Your bondage is adhyasa. Your bondage is adhyasa. It's a mistaken notion. Atasmin tad buddhi. You've mistaken the limitless consciousness to be a finite entity. Therefore, what should you do? What should you do to correct that mistake? Not replace it with another mistake, not replace it with another experience, but negate that ignorance about yourself. That self-ignorance that I have should be negated on the knowledge, by the knowledge born from a pramana. Pramana janya jnanam. And the pramana happens to be the Vedanta. The Upanishad, the Gita and the Bhashyans and all of them. That is the pramana that will negate the ignorance that you have about yourself. Once that is there, adhyasa goes, some experiences remain. You can happily enjoy them. Do you not enjoy a rising sun? Do you not enjoy walking on a flat earth? Imagine if the earth was, after knowledge, suddenly the earth became round for you and you have to balance on it. As it is with our municipality being what it is and the condition of the roads being what it is, you have a problem walking on the road. Imagine now you have to balance on a ball and walk. You enjoy the flat earth. You enjoy the rising sun. You enjoy the blue sky. In fact, Shankara also gives another example. To show plurality, how can one appear as a many? He gives the example and he says, Ekachandraha Dvichandravat. Those who are suffering from diplopia, things will appear as two. If you have become too spiritual, no, then also things will appear as more than one. Adhyasa. Therefore, there is no rule that the one reality cannot be mistaken as a many, or the sentient cannot be mistaken as insentient. A snake which is non-sentient is mistaken as a rope which is sentient. You can have reverse adhyasa also. Because you attended too many Vedanta lectures, you mistook a snake for a rope. You saw a snake, you said, Vedanta example, na, a rope hi hai. You can do that mistake, which is more dangerous. So, your whole, look at it, in Vedanta, you are a seeker because of adhyasa. You are a jiva, of course, because of adhyasa. Then this jiva, because of life experiences, seeks fulfillment, comes to Vedanta. That seeking is also because of adhyasa. The guru is nothing but Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, but he wears the robes of adhyasa to become a teacher, to appear as a teacher, and he teaches. The teaching, the subject matter is also because of adhyasa. The teaching is necessary because you have a problem of ignorance. If you did not have the problem of ignorance or adhyasa, there is no need of teaching. There is no need of all the bhashyas, etc. So, the whole adhikari, sambandha, veda, subject matter, vishayam, etc. all is established by adhyasa alone. And the purpose of all this is what? To negate that adhyasa. To negate the ignorance which is creating the adhyasa. Because without ignorance, there is no adhyasa. There are some schools which say, no, without ignorance, adhyasa can be there. It's not tenable. It's not tenable. Yeah. Because if I knew there was a rope, I will ever mistake it as a snake. If I knew I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, how will I ever mistake myself to be a finite entity? At the most, I can say, I am playing the role of a jiva. Exactly like how that actor is playing the role of a beggar. I can also, in my freedom, play the role of a beggar in life. Jiva is a beggar. Why? Bikari sari duniya, data ek ram. So, like that, I can play the role of a beggar. That's okay. I can play the role of a Jiva, knowing I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. So the seeker is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, but the Adhyasa is real for him at that point, taken as real. Therefore, he says, Pahi Mam Trahi Mam. And the Guru, he is free from the Adhyasa, but he wears the robes of Adhyasa so that he can teach, appear as a finite person and teach, and to help the student free himself from the Adhyasa. बस इतना ही बात है और क्या है. Swamiji, what will I do after I gain the knowledge? And I know I am free, etc. there are a couple of advices given. One of them is Murkhavat Achare, live like the other fools in society. Meaning, if you want a normal life. Otherwise, go help other people discover that they are free. Become a teacher. Become a sannyasi. Become a Mauni Baba. Whatever you want to do, you're free enough. And when you have the wisdom, you will have also the wisdom to know what to do with it. So, I tried to cut across a huge topic in a nutshell. That is fine for now. Om Tat Sat.
विदिताखिल शास्त्र सुधा जलधे महितोपनिषत् कथितार्थनिधे हृदये कलये विमलं शरणं भवशङ्कर देशिकमे शरणं भवशङ्कर देशिकमे शरणं भवशङ्कर